Well, Millwall back at the Den this afternoon against Sheffield Wednesday, the table toppers in the Championship so far. Obviously 6 points from their first two games, level with only a couple of other sides, including obviously Millwall's local rivals Charlton, who've had a surprisingly good start to the season despite their difficulties off the pitch with their owner, shall we say. In terms of Millwall today, obviously they've picked up 4 points from their first two games, looked strong in both games, picked up a win in midweek against West Brom away in the Cup as well after drawing with them last weekend in the Championship. Tom Bradshaw netting his first Millwall goal in that game, crucially. He's off the mark now in a Lions shirt. Just, I think it's 355 days after signing. Been a long wait for Bradders given his injury woes last season, but now hopefully you're thinking, can he go now and regularly hit that run of form? Go and score more goals than maybe Lee Gregory did for Millwall. We all know that Gregory, whilst he was an excellent player for the club over his spell, he always should have got more goals than what he actually ended up scoring. Obviously, Aidan O'Brien off the mark too, and Matt Smith off the mark last weekend against West Brom. So that's three of the four strikers that have netted in the season so far. Just Jon Dadi Bodvarsson, who's a couple of weeks behind still in terms of his match fitness, and after joining a little bit later than some of the others, and now he's just got to work up. He's just got to build his minutes, and then he'll be ready to become another key cog in the rebuild that Neil Harris has managed to do over the summer. In terms of the rest of the team today, I'd expect obviously there'll be some changes from midweek. There was 8 changes going into that game. I don't know that there'll be quite the same amount coming back out of it, but Bartosz Białkowski will probably return in goal, you'd think. Marlon Romeo probably comes back in at right back. Alex Pearce and Jake Cooper, probably the two centre-backs. Murray Wallace will likely shift across to left-back, you'd think, given Wednesday's strong start to the season. I'm not convinced that Harris would play Ferguson there in this game. So then Ferguson will drop out. Right midfield will likely be Jed Wallace. And then you'll instead of Aidan O'Brien. Central midfield, Ben Thompson, you're assuming would come back in. And then Leonard or Malumbi, it could be one of those two starting, or of course it could be Sean Williams comes back in. Dropped from the Republic of Ireland squad this week though, Williams. Didn't make the 40-man provisional squad for their September fixtures. Aidan O'Brien did, and Yuri Skalak earned himself a recall to the Czech Republic squad after missing out on the last couple. Obviously he struggled last season, but he's worked very hard over the summer and looks back to his best. Couple of really good deliveries in midweek. Most of Millwall's good play came from him, creating chances. And if he can hit form, then you've got 3 top wingers all competing for the 2 spots on the side. Obviously, Conor Mahoney, I think I'd expect him to start still over Skalak on the left, but you never know. Harris has said he'll pick a team to win each game individually, so if he sees a weakness in terms of Sheffield Wednesday's defending in the box from crosses, then he maybe would go with Skalak and Mahoney. But Millwall have got options in those wide areas. It's a different problem for Harris this season. Last season was more a team that picked itself, and then you had the key backup players. This season there's a lot less of that. There's a lot more competition for players, and it's healthy. And then obviously up front you've got any combination, assuming that he goes with a 4-4-2 at home. You'd expect Matt Smith to be the target man up front, and then any one of the others could be Jon Dadi Bodvarsson, Tom Bradshaw, or Aidan O'Brien, who started against Preston, of course. So yeah, I mean, it'll be a tough game today. I mean, one of Millwall's toughest tests so far, but it's surprising in some ways that Sheffield Wednesday have started this well given their situation over the summer. Obviously, Steve Bruce departing for Newcastle. So they've still got a caretaker manager in charge, but he's doing a good job, it seems. Former player for the club, I believe, so he knows the club, knows what's expected of players at Hillsborough, and he'll be keen to give himself, obviously, the best chance of getting the job on a permanent basis, you'd think. So if Wednesday can carry on building on that start, then they'll be well on their way to certainly a half-decent season anyway. In terms of injury worries for them, I think Barry Bannon's a doubt, which will be good news. It's good news for Millwall. He always seems to have a very good game against us. I think he scored at Hillsborough last year, or certainly got an assist. And he's just a player that can control the tempo of any game he plays in. He's very strong on the ball, agile, quick, like nimble feet. So him being out, or maybe just on the bench, is good news, you'd think. And then obviously, Millwall, no injury worries themselves, and they'll be hoping to extend their unbeaten start to this season. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Millwall win, I think. My prediction for today. Come on, you Lions.